How to make angel investors fall in love with your business. Since 2010, angel investors have been pouring, on average, more than $25 billion annually in startups deployed in various sectors of the global economy. With a success rate of nearly 20%, angels are more cautious than ever when it comes to allocating their capital. Learn how to make your startup shine and attract the right investors from the get-go. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous. If you are doing fantastic, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or let's roll. Today we want to talk about how to make angel investors fall in love with your business. Before I get into the nitty-gritty, let me quickly give a shout out to Nicole Hall in Clover, South Carolina, Brian Cook in Columbia, South Carolina, and Joshua Andrews in Fairfax, South Carolina. We really appreciate your contribution and your help here, your feedback. Nicole, Brian, and Joshua, all the way from South Carolina, really appreciate it. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, let me quickly explain to you what an angel investor is. An angel investor is a rich individual who provides capital for a business startup, usually in exchange for convertible debt or ownership equity. Angel investors usually give support to startups at the initial moments and when most investors are not prepared to back them. So we want to contrast here the notion of angel investors with private equity, right? So angel investors will usually come in at the beginning of the company, whereas private equity company will usually join at a later stage. It's just a matter of vision, a matter of risk aversion, and a matter of business model. So those private equity investors and angel investors are also very important in the value chain of today's global economy. Now, to attract angel investors, you gotta get, and this is the number one, you have to get your fundamentals right. Now, a lot of people want to jump into a business without understanding the fundamentals. What are fundamentals? Fundamentals will be things like the clientele, the product itself, the demand, supply, the economic cycle. Those concepts are very important. People make great businesses. And angel investors, one thing you should remember here is that they look primarily for inspirational founders who can do more than talk up an idea, right? They want folks who can lead a business team to deliver a healthy risk-adjusted return on capital invested, right? So one thing you want to do here is you want to attract the right people into your startup. So if you're trying to get the right funding, you want to have the right talent on in-house, right? Another thing that is very important, that is part of the fundamentals I'm talking about, is strategic and execution planning, right? Because you want to have the right strategy, but most importantly, you want to have proper execution. Now, of course, by having the right people, you are more likely to execute properly. One thing you also want to understand here is that you want to take time to step out and network. You want to pitch your idea not only to the industry, to angel investors who invest in your industry, but also outside. You know, for example, if you have a great healthcare idea, you want to pitch your idea not only to angel investors in the healthcare sector, but also angel investors in, say, technology, finance, sports, etc., right? The idea here is to widen the basket so that you can attract the right type of investors, right? One thing you also want to do here is that remember that you need to tell a story that is relatable. You want to connect with your investors. You want to tell a story that is relatable, trying to break down a convoluted and complicated idea into something that people can resonate with. That's very important, right? So by infusing your idea with your passion, investors will be more likely to connect with you and understand what really drives you and what drives your team. At the end of the day, it's not about the idea, it's about your passion and your motivation to implement that idea. All right. So make a statement, try to learn how to sell your story in a very succinct way. All right. I'll be right back to talk about number 2, how to pitch your idea to the right angel audience. I'll be right back right after this. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. We're still talking about how to make angel investors fall in love with your business. In the earlier section, I talked about how to get your fundamentals right, how to get your team right, the idea, the business model right, and the execution right. Now, I want to explain to you that you need to pitch to the right angel audience. This is very important. And the right angel audience is not necessarily angels who have invested in your field before. I guess what I'm trying to say here is to go back to my original example. If you are a startup in the healthcare sector, the right angel audience is not necessarily the angels who invest in healthcare. They might be part of it, but you can also attract other people who might like your idea, right? We know a lot of billionaires from Jeff Bezos to Google founders who have invested in fields that are outside their primary focus, right? So before I kind of develop this more further, let me quickly give again a shout out to our millions of fans of listeners throughout the world, particularly Rose Sutton in St. Helens, this is in Oregon, Corey Williams in Toledo, Oregon, and Elliot Morris in Valley Hills, Oregon. Rose, Corey, and Ellie, we really appreciate your help. If you like the content of this show so far, please consider subscribing to our channel, like this show, share, comment below. We want to have your opinion about if you're a startup owner or you are an angel investor yourself. Let us know what are the best ways to attract angels to a startup. So, how do you pitch to the right angel audience? The first thing you want to do here is to identify the angel group most suitable to your business, right? Again, you want to think locally, but also globally. So you want to start in your city, you want to start in your state, but also in the neighboring states, or if you have to travel to another state, go for it, right? A lot of folks think you have to go to Silicon Valley in California to pitch your idea. Not necessarily. You have great business hubs, great startup hubs throughout the country, and even beyond, right? From New York to Chicago to Austin to LA, you have a lot of hubs of startup investors throughout the country. And I'm not even talking about London, Singapore, Hong Kong, Beijing, Johannesburg, and the list goes on. So identify the investors who are right for your audience. Now, you want to pitch your idea to investors, in other words, angels who have domain expertise and network in one or more sectors and tend to invest in these areas or business models. What I'm trying to say is to go back to my original example. If you have a healthcare business, a healthcare startup, you want to pitch your idea, or you want to seek angels who have expertise and networks in the healthcare sector or ancillary sectors, right? Related sectors. So what's really important here is that you have to know your industry dynamics and the key business metrics when pitching, right? Make sure that you fill your presentation with the proper data, but not too much. It's very important because investors want to really connect first with the presenter, with the team, with the founders or founder, right? Before delving into the numbers. But it's very important. You got to have a right balance between the team, in other words, the quality, and then the quality, the quantity meaning metrics, stats, and so on and so forth. All right. Now, make sure, this is very important, to pitch to the right angel audience. Make sure that your products always solve a problem, or your product is a must-have, right? So things that attract investors frequently or all the time, if you will, or things that are answers to very important questions. If you want to draw them to your business, you have to answer important questions. For instance, how large is your market? Who are your competitors? Right? Why is your product better than the others? Everybody thinks they have the best products ever, right? Every startup owner believes they have the bonanza of the century, but you got to be able to back it up. You have to be able to show, to substantiate why your product is better than the others, and what is your customer acquisition strategy. This is very important. A lot of startups sort of don't focus that much on this question. It's very important to have a good product, to have a great product, to have great funding. But how are you going to acquire customers? Is there a big enough market and a customer base for the idea? Another important questions. All right. So this is, in a nutshell, a few questions that you have to be ready to answer once you identify locally or globally the right angel audience. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition. We're still talking about how to make angel investors fall in love with a startup. Now, if you have a startup, you might want to listen, because this is getting more interesting. I want to quickly give a shout out to our millions of viewers in the United States, Canada, and beyond, particularly Ellie Houghton in Shunkin, Montana, Jess Williams in Post Creek, Montana, and Harry Austin in Klein, Montana. Now, the third step here is you want to show angels how they can add value. This is critical. Angels love giving their money to great ideas and great startups, but they like to feel important. They like to feel needed beyond the financial aspect. They want to contribute their expertise. They want to contribute their network. They want to contribute their ideas, whatever it is. Show them that they can add value to your business. So the thing here is that angels generally look to add value and achieve reasonable returns on a diversified portfolio. The thing here is that by involving your angels early on, they will feel committed, right? And they can check, because an angel is by definition an investor. An investor wants to have a higher ROI, right? Return on investment. So by involving the angel from the get-go, he or she feels that, oh, okay, we have a say in this, and we can monitor the progress. We can monitor the growth of our investment in real time, right? So angels take an active interest in the business. They could do this either on the board of directors. They can serve. They can help you with network introductions. They can, help you with the founder mentorship. They can provide some business guidance. They can also be part of the advisory board. A whole host of roles and possibilities for angels on multiple startups. Now, if you look around, a lot of startups that are making money, they have grown and have become unicorns. Those startups have a deep bench of advisors, a deep bench of investors, right? A deep bench of angels. So this is very important to sort of tap into that angels, what I would call angel expertise, right? Another thing that's very important, if you want angels to add value to your business, make sure that, again, I said that earlier, make sure you go straight to the point. When you are presenting to an investor, or when you're seeking an investor's contribution into your startup, go straight to the point. Nobody wants to listen to a 30 minutes or 40 minutes worth of presentation with 30 or 40 slides, right? Just cut to the chase. You want to go 10, 12 slides, 15 slides maximum, and make each slide count, right? And a very easy way to do this is to use the 5 W's and the H, right? Why, who, where, when, what, and then how. And just break it down and go straight to the point. You want to include things like market size and analysis. The important thing here is that you have to have a compelling and memorable message. By doing that, you are allowing angels to know exactly where they can help you. They know everything about your business, and they know where you need help. Right? So trying to be precise and concise. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. We're still continuing our conversation about how to make angel investors fall in love with your business. If you just joined us or you've been listening to this show for a while, consider subscribing to our channel and turn on the notification bell so you are made aware anytime we drop a new show. Share this content, comment below, give us your experience about angel investors, startup ownership, and so on and so forth. We want to broaden the debate so we can involve as many folks as possible. I want to quickly give a shout out to our beloved audience members throughout the country, specifically Kaylee Collins in Allman, Maine, Ray Newman in South Elliott, Maine, and Nicholas Jackson in Prescott Hill in Maine. Prescott, Iowa. Can't really pronounce that, but Prescott, Iowa. Thank you. Now, be ready to make a deal. You know, in the first 3 sections, I've explained to you that you have to get your fundamentals right. You have to seek and pitch to the right angel audience. You want to show angels that how they can add value. But once you have done all of those things, make sure you are ready to make a deal, right? So, you know, you have a great presentation, everybody claps, the angels love your pitch. Now what? Right? So you want to really think about the post-pitch phase. The post-pitch phase includes things like due diligence. This is very important. So you want to get everything ready. You want to get your financials ready. You want to get information about the founders, information about the key staff members ready. All those things have to be prepared. You know, there's something called due diligence report. You can have this also in the business plan. You got to get those things ready. Right? So this is very important. So prepare those things beforehand. You want to prepare and offer the background information that supports your business proposition. So anything you talk about in the pitch, normally the pitch should be a summarized version of the business plan. And the business plan should encompass a summarized version of the due diligence report. Right? In other words, all those 3 elements, all those 3 reports, the pitch, the business plan, and the due diligence report should encompass at a minimum things like, you know, a detailed outline of the competition, products, pricing, leadership background, legal aspects, significant transactions, regulatory factors, business and financial models. All those things should be ready. So that if an angel is interested in your startup, you can move ASAP, right? The idea here is not to waste time, because those investors are solicited a lot every single day. That, you know, the best, the ones with the deepest pockets can see 20, 30, 40, 50 emails a day. So your startup is not the only one he or she is considering, right? So you got to act fast. Right, this is very important. So this is very important to prepare that due diligence, to prepare all that stage post pitch. All right, I will be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. We have our last element here when it comes to attracting investors, especially angel investors, to your startup. You gotta be realistic, folks. You gotta be realistic. Now, before I even talk about being realistic here, again, let me acknowledge some of our viewers and listeners and fans throughout the country, specifically Aubrey Foreman in Culver, Arizona, Bailey Stone in Scottsdale, beautiful city of Scottsdale, Arizona, and Addison Crawford in Iron Springs, Arizona. Now, be realistic. The thing here is that angels understand the investment lottery. They understand that 20%, so 20% of their investments will generate 80% of their gains or the capital gains, right? And the thing here is that you want to be realistic in your financial modeling. You want to be cautious and conservative. Not pessimistic, not optimistic. So you want to really think about the larger picture. So what I'm trying to say here is that don't start projecting sales of 20 million the first year if you know that your direct competition is only making 5 million, or established companies in the industry are only making 1 million, right? So you want to be realistic on a lot of stuff, including products, marketing, communication, scaling, audience, your clientele. If you are offering a product that is only localized, in other words, only available in one country, think about the implications for international competition, right? Because we live in a globalized environment, and chances are, if you have a good product, if you have a great product, sooner or later you are going to have rivals. You're going to have foreign rivals. People will either copy the idea or do something even better than yours. So you got to think about those things, right? And when you think about that, think now about the investor's perspective. They also have to make a decision as to whether or not they should put money in your company, and how much money they should put in your company, right? So the thing here is that being realistic is very important, and it goes both ways. And by being realistic from the get-go, you are allowing your investors to make a smart decision, an intelligent decision as to the nature and scope of the risk they're taking on. Another thing that's very, very important is that angels place great importance on the quality of the founders, and they also they also take very seriously the composition of the founders, right? How are the founders compensated? Is it only equity, or are they drawing a salary, that kind of stuff? Because they want to know whether the founders are motivated and committed to the company in the long run, or whether or not they're just looking for a very quick fix, right? So those are a few things you want to pay attention to as you pitch to investors. Now, let me quickly recap here what we've been talking about. So, to make angel investors fall in love with your business, there are 5 things you need to do. Get your fundamentals right. Pitch to the right angel audience. Show angels how they can add value. Be ready to make a deal, especially in terms of due diligence, and be realistic. All right, folks, this is really about it. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. I quickly want to give you a call to action. In every show, we like to give a call to action to our viewers and listeners, and today's call to action is very simple. To attract the right angel investors, write a foolproof business plan. Hire a professional and make sure that the business plan is comprehensive, it is concise, it is direct, it is precise, right? The whole thing here is that don't mistake a comprehensive business plan with a concise business plan. You can have a comprehensive yet concise business plan. The idea here is to talk about everything that needs to be talked about in the business plan. So write a professional business plan. Form a capable management team. This is not another biggie. Simply because you are a startup doesn't mean you can't get experts on your team. Now remember, you may not have the money to pay them, but you certainly have the equity. The company has the equity to pay them. So if you have the right experts, they will be willing to work with you. And remember, they don't have to work full time, right? They can start working on part time, getting compensated with equity. But whatever approach you take, whether full-time or part-time or contract basis, make sure that you have an adept management team. Another thing that you need to think about is to secure the right advisors. Now, the advisors, you can get them through the investors, the angel investors, or you can get them through, members of the business community, right? But the quality of the advisors that you have can help you, or can accelerate the process of getting funding, right? Because the advisors can tap into their own networks to refer your business to the right angel investors. So this is very important. All right. Now, here is today's pro tip. Make sure that you have exit strategies for angels. Angels may be angels when it comes to giving you money in the initial stages of your business, but they're not going to hang around for too long because they have other stuff to do. They have to exit at some point your company or your industry so they can reallocate the money, their capital, into other industries, right? So there are several exit strategies for angels. You have initial public offers, the IPOs, right? Where the IPOs allowing angels to sell their stake in the business and cashing on their investments. You have mergers, you have private offerings, right? And venture capital. So they can sell their stake to VC firms. All right. This is about it, folks, for today. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate having you around. Stay good, stay profitable, and stay marvelous.